touching the graveyard at any point, and it just goes straight into that extra deck face up as Pendulum cards like it.
There's really not anything foolish about that, I want to say. Let's talk a little bit more about the Invoked deck from Danilo.
It's crazy.
Chaos Origins has given us so much already. We have seen the Light and Darkness Ritual deck before. Now also Invoked. Did you have that on your radar, Basti?
I absolutely did not, and also especially by Danilo I did not expect it, because Danilo has been so strong with the Draco Tail, with the Branded strategy, all of those fusion decks. And I mean, at the end of the day, the Invoked kind of fits as well, also being a fusion-oriented strategy, but it definitely wasn't the one that I had on my list for him specifically. And we talked to him earlier, and before the playoff, before he knew it would be going so well, he said, I made the craziest call ever. Please let this work out.
Yeah.
And wow, it is working out so far with the Invoked deck here.
Yep, he needs to win one of possibly 2 matches that he's going to play. Just one game out of 2, one match out of 2 have to be won. And this could be the one. Starting with Purulia and Shifter, nothing to scoff at. But how much can play Leonardo through that? How much do you play through a Shifter?
Well, of course, yes, we did have success with the Pendulum Treasure, but everything else is pretty badly denied by the Dimension Shifter, because the way the game mechanic, of course, works regarding Pendulum cards, the moment they would try to go to the graveyard before they go in, like they check whether they would go into the graveyard, and here they wouldn't go to the graveyard, so they would be banished before they could ever get into the extra deck. So just by the nature of things, Dimension Shifter counters all kind of Pendulum shenanigans, so it is definitely hurtful for the Power Patron deck. Maybe the Artmage part, depending on how big it is in Leonardo's deck, can make up for that. But looking at the list he brought here into this environment, it's just a very small Artmage package. It's rather a Power Patron deck with a couple of Artmage cards there.
Yeah, but it was basically only Medios, right? And some of the cards that are also Power Patron.
Just the Vandalism Assault, he plays one copy of that, but it's really not something that is comboing. It's just a good starter to have, but nothing beyond that.
But how much can Danilo play with just in the next turn 4 cards in the set? It does not feel like Leonardo wants to give many draw. A normal summon draw and Lockbird to give a draw for the Purulia does not feel great.
Not the one I expected, but I mean, you couldn't use it next turn, so it does make sense in the end. We're banishing Dimension Shifter here from the graveyard, and please note, this does have applications, as Invocation, of course, needs or can also be fusion summoning with materials from the graveyard. And when there is no Dark Monster, that makes it a lot harder to actually make it resolve.
Yeah, and there is a very important card that you want to summon with Dark Invoked Oceanus. That is the good old Dimensional Fissure on legs if it's in the extra monster zone. However, you need a Dark or a Water monster, so Purulia would also work for that. And now he decides to kick us off. I think that is the new Invocation.
It gotta be, yeah. But is Leonardo responding to it in any way?
That is the Magistus Invocation.
No, I think it's the Sacred Spirit Sword Iowas. Yeah, it's Iowas. And that one actually just takes Alistair and either adds it from your deck to your hand or sends it to the graveyard or banish it. I mean, sending it to the graveyard and banishing here in that case would do the exact same thing. But it does lead to us getting access to not the Alistair actually, but just something that looks like Alistair a lot, and that is the Iowas itself.
And that one gets us Alistair.
Yeah. If we really wanted to. So Danilo, considering his options, made a crazy call to go into this tournament with a deck that is... I mean, I thought in this 16-player environment, it is almost borderline impossible to surprise the competition. Because they are going to be so well prepared, over-prepared, like playing hundreds, if not thousands of matches to prepare for this tournament. I think Danilo may have been successful though, because surely no one except himself expected Invoked to be the pick for the tournament.
And there we see Crowley. Name Magistus. That is also a good old starter. Previously seen a lot in Draco Tail Magistus. I mean, not a lot, but it was certainly there.
And it's a one-off here. Looks like we are going to respond to Crowley with the effect of SP Little Knight, banishing that SP. Oh, there is the Alistair though. Hold on. I think we used the effect of Crowley, and we want to fusion summon, and now we are, even though the Crowley is gone, still going to resolve that effect with one Alistair in the hand and the Iowas we got onto the field. And that is an old school. That is a blast from the past. Is that really a card booking a ticket to the World Championship this weekend? Invoked Raging attacking for an insanely powerful 2,200 attack points. And in case you forgot what it does, because it has been a while since I saw that card for the last time, it's basically just a Book of Moon on Lex.
Yeah, this card is, which is incredibly strong, especially versus pendulum strategies. If you book those, it's a high chance of stopping a lot of the plays they want to do. So especially if Leonardo is low on resource, but that's a pass immediately. You have only developed the Raging properly, and the Crowley is gonna be red as well. This one is only returning, and also it's the same turn, so the effect cannot be triggered. That one is just chilling there for a little bit.
Ooh, I mean, when they walked by and Danilo proudly told us, yep, I have resolved Dimension Shifter, you could really tell that one of them, and that was Danilo, was way happier with the situation. Yeah. But honestly, this does not look so bad here for Leonardo. He has a field spell already online. Oh, look at this. Of course, the Dimension Shifter hurts us even more so now because our field spell is once again reducing the attack points of Danilo's monsters by 100 each for every banished card. So we are now bigger with our SP Little Knight. We're flipping the Rage and face down before it can be run over. And the defense points were not lowered. So we do actually get to keep the Invoked Regen.
I don't even remember what it was, but back in the day. Oh, an Ash Blossom now as well to stop the plays from Leonardo. And he's also having something in hand to reveal for the planet.
I mean, you don't need to reveal anything. You just banish something face down, so there is another card to banish here, and then you can just you're revealing from the extra deck, and then you get to just simply search or special summon, and that's all you need really. Like, you can get any kind of power Patron that you like. There it is, the face down banish. So in the matchup of decks that are truly not like the most represented today, this is where it looks like it is going into Leonard's direction here.
That is a brand new match of Yu-Gi-Oh!
Yes.
This is something that has never been seen before on stream. Invoked versus Power Patron.
But one really, really, really fun thing about the Invoked Raging that Leonardo is also double-checking there. With that interaction that he did there, he basically reset his own Raging as well, because Raging is just a soft once per turn. So that was a wasted battle phase for Leonardo, even taking a little bit of damage in the process, because that Raging now is ready to set cards once more.
Oh, true. You can just take the Jupredo, put it face down, and if the SP Little Knight wants to deny that, then have fun banishing the Jupredo until the end phase. Right?
Yeah. I think that Invoked Raging, as ancient as it is, I don't even know what year is it released. Let me double check here. Fusion and Forces was 2017. You gotta be kidding me. That's almost 10 years ago since the first appearance of Alistair himself, and now all of a sudden back onto the big stage where no one really expected him.
Absolutely not. I wonder if this has any effect on tomorrow's meta. If some people who were on the verge of bringing Invoke because they thought it was cool are saying now, okay, yeah, absolutely, I'm gonna bring this. Danilo is showing the judges, I think, probably to say, hey, this is soft.
It's got to be about the same, same thing, yeah. It would have to be. I think maybe they are trying to find out whether, like, what happens if the card gets booked on resolution. Maybe that could be what the question is about.
Oh,
so like that's the only thing I can imagine, really. Or maybe if the card is.
I think the card just forgets everything as soon as it's booked. That's
maybe
how
it does.
Always was, right? So I mean, that was a play back in the day. It was a play to book your own Raging. I don't know what for.
I mean, so the way Jupredo is worded, it says you can banish the top 3 cards of your deck face down, destroy this card, and if you do special summon 1 Jupiter from your extra deck. So is it still this card? I don't think it is, right? As soon as it's booked, I don't believe it is. But why even make that matter? Yeah. Why don't we just go ahead and preemptively use the effect of Invoked Raging?
I mean, Leonardo
maybe it's too late. Maybe you forgot.
Yeah, Leonardo worked so hard on just getting this card out, just getting anything on the board to start playing. I think just booking there immediately is the right choice, but there currently discarding this? I don't think it's this card still.
I don't think so either, no. From how I would think it goes down. Okay, I just got information though that actually we do have an appeal on that situation, which is fair. It is one of the most important matches of Yu-Gi-Oh! That they are playing, so you gotta be completely careful and sure about it. So why don't we throw it over to us for a quick moment while we talk about the situation a little bit further. So did they activate it already? I didn't see them activating it yet.
Same, but that is the problem for us. We can only see the players, we cannot hear them, because in how many games do you actually ever use your hands to explain every single thing that you're doing? I think there's some people that have that playstyle that just go,
Shifter is very, like you can see what's going on with Shifter when they just put it onto the table or in the graveyard. Yeah, maybe you're just flickering it. You're like, this is going to happen later on as well.
But then you're presenting it. But I mean, some people just say, hey, activate this, and then that. And then there are other people who just tell you what they're doing, which is just equally fair.
Also, I'm telling you what's going on there. Okay. We were wondering where we are in terms of where the priority is, who is allowed to do their next move, who is allowed to maybe activate a quick effect or not. And that's where the players are also disagreeing, you know? Like, they are also not certain on whose priority right now it is to do an effect, because for a quick effect on Danilo's end to be used, he would have to be, like, there would have been a priority being passed over, but maybe that's already past that point, but we're going to learn in seconds.
If the Jupredo was summoned, and he said okay to that summon,
then it is on
Leonardo's prio.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. But I mean, we're not the judges. We didn't hear them, so they are going to break it down. They're going to make a very, very educated decision, as we usually do, and then we will find out whether. I mean, but in the end, we still agree that it probably doesn't matter, right? Because from how we understand it, you cannot destroy it when it's face down.
I think that was like one of the issues between this and that card. I think
that target as well.
That card or that target is different from this. So I think...
Well, good thing we're casters, not judges.
Right? And our judge days are long behind us.
Oh, they are. And I'm glad they are for it. I mean, getting to the casting booth here with you, of course, as a replacement. It is funnier. And we will be finding out how that is going to be. I mean, when was the last time in a big tournament where we had a ruling that involved Invoked Raging? It gotta be a while ago.
That is true, and it's just crazy because you could also just think that cards like this don't exist anymore, right? This very soft once per turn approach on interruptions, we haven't seen that in ages now.
Yeah.
You could have just not attacked it.
Certainly.
No, it doesn't give a replay. If you attack it and it books itself, that doesn't give a replay.
No, he had to attack it, but certainly a misplay to just go into the battle phase and try all of that in the first place, right? Because you accomplished nothing with going into the battle phase. And if you would have known how all of that went down, it would always only go down that rabbit hole, then there was really no point in going into battle phase there in the first place.
No, I disagree. I think the right play is to go into battle phase, and on Raging effect you chain SP to banish the Raging for this turn.
Fair.
And then you can play.
Actually, you solved the puzzle. Yeah. That's a good point.
Probably.
Possibly.
After all of our analysis on the Invoked matchup, I don't think we are the ones to definitely say that we solved it.
No, but I like that. It actually gives you a chance to also deal with the Raging, with the battle phase, so you are making use of your battle
because
phase.
The card has seen so little play in the last 9 years, people just forgot that it's a soft once per turn thing, because those barely happen anymore. So I would understand just attacking it and then... just taking the damage, but then again, what are you saving the SP Little Knight for? You sometimes players go for routes where they save up card effects because they say, okay, I can play around something else later on, and then you can't anymore.
I don't think there is really anything like that. But, Leo, Danilo, going through the season, always playing those graveyard-heavy decks. I still remember sometimes posts from him on social media saying, why did they shifter me again? I would have won that tournament if they didn't shifter me. Well, he changed very quickly all of a sudden when it mattered the most, and all of a sudden he's the boy dropping the shifters here in the points playoff.
If you can't beat them, join them, right?
Really?
In the points playoff, we talked about decks with high ceiling. I think shifter is, when it comes to hand traps, the highest ceiling there is.
Actually, I just realized, wasn't that even just the very last YCS where he was in the finals in YCS Dortmund, where he got shifted by the Vankersol deck? That was just the very last YCS we had. And that was actually maybe the moment he was like, I can't have this anymore.
Gotta do this myself.
I have to try it out. And then the moment he activated Shifter for the first time, he was hooked.
Although I have to say, there is a buy missing on the Shifter. I think the only Shifter you should be playing is the Ultra Rare or the Starlight Rare. This is both fine for me.
Good point. I disagree, though. I like. Usually you don't care, right? Usually you play commons, you play rares. That's your take and also my take usually. So, yes, it is the more appreciated version of the card. At the end of the day, they're both doing the same, though.
It doesn't matter. That is true. But something with these stamped cards that. Something works for me there.
Yeah, so I know.
It doesn't for me. I don't know why, but I love it when these cards also say something.
Yeah, no, for sure. You like to talk to your cards. That's what you want to say, right?
Yeah,
you
right.
You did beforehand already, but now they talk back finally.
Yeah, finally it's not only a one-sided conversation. But also it's very odd because I don't like reading cards all the time. That's why I miss half of the effect sometimes. And then there's more to read on the cards, you know?
But that's fair. But okay, I think from the way things are looking... Oh, no, we're still working on it. Good.
Okay.
So, it's about this Invoked deck, though. It's not only about Shifter. They have some more pseudo-shifters in their arsenal now as well, right? Because they have a Dimension Shifter on Lex, you could say, which is their new fusion monster, right?
Yeah, they have Oceanus.
Yeah.
And that card is really, really strong when it's in the extra monster zone. It has to be specifically in the extra monster zone to send all of the monsters that would go to the graveyard to banishment. In the main monster zone, it has the effect that it pulls all attacks. It's like a EUWCQ monster, basically, so your opponent can only attack it. I think one of the two effects
Which effect is better?
One of them has more impact on the game than the other, I would say. But it's also kind of cool that all of the Alistair monsters, you know, they push attack.
Yeah.
As quick effects as well. So that's also what I found rather risky with the SP Little Knight attack there.
Yeah.
Because if that's a damage step Alistair... oh boy, that's 1k up. Even though I don't know how many cards were banished.
Banished. But yeah, I mean, I think it was definitely. I mean, it must have been more than one because he was trying to run over.
Wow.
Yes, it was more than one. I'm pretty sure about that. But besides that, it probably was more than 10 as well. So I'm not too sure.
Yeah, that is. Okay, so I think we've heard that we are back at playing. So let's go over to the table to continue game 1.
So it is looking like we are able to use Invoked Ragent now on the Jupredo. And now Leonardo is once again going to banish for Crowley alongside the Jupredo before it could get put face down. And it goes back to Danilo. End phase. So Danilo, the one coming out of that conversation, happily able to use his Raijin and go into his turn again.
But Danilo's monsters are so low on attack. You can barely get over this Jupredo, yeah?
Oh no, we're going battle phase. What kind of match are we seeing here for the World Championship? They're just playing one of the most absurd games ever. You can't even run over the Little Knight here still because all of your monsters are just small.
And if you run over Jupredo, I think it gets sent face up to the extra deck, and that's not necessarily something that you want. SP Little Knight again does the same thing, takes out the Crowley. Maybe that was bait.
It really felt like a bait to me. That is a low-impact Little Knight there. Getting that Crowley banished once again. That Crowley has been banished more than any Malice monster when Rico played.
That is very true.
Ooh, and we do have another copy of that sword, and it is bringing out the Iwas again.
Now, without any further interruption, I think it could finally be Danilo's time to really start playing, because you haven't normal summoned here. It normal summons the new Alistair.
Here we go. Danilo is in this, and Leonardo, I mean, looking at Leonardo's deck list overall, his engine plays in the field decently well, but from here on out, with having cards on the field himself, which disables his Mulcharmy cards, they really only, there's Dominus Impulse,
okay,
and there is Troll and Lockbird, but I don't know how much they help. We are going to banish the Kaliga here now for the new Alistair, and that is going to resolve as well.
Found, I think this time was the new Invocation.
Yes, he did. Oh my, and Leonardo is certainly also surprised by the deck that Danilo has brought up. Is going to have a read on one of those new cards here that he did not expect anyone to bring. Oh, we see the extended art super polarizations in Danilo's deck. That's a nice add-on there as well.
Gotta love this. You banish another Alistair. So remind me again, the way to recycle Alistair and Invocation. You had to have Alistair in graveyard and Invocation banished, right?
No, it's the other way around this.
Oh, yeah, that also makes a lot more sense.
Yeah, Yeah, the invocation needs to be in the graveyard, which we are probably able to get to this turn.
It does make a lot more sense because, you know, invocation banishes Alistair.
Yeah. Exactly. Would have been a weird way to go about it if it would be the other way around, but that is looking like we are going for a Link summon now, and when there's 2 different Alistairs, how about another one? Or is it maybe... Oh, it's SP Little Knight stare down time here again. We are banishing the field spell on Leonardo's end, finally making our monsters bigger than that SP Little Knight on the other side.
I was going to ask, how much spell trap removal does he have? Because this gets really annoying for him.
Yeah. So we go for the Invocation Sword now. And that is going to bring out one of the new additions to the deck.
From Chaos Origins, this card gives you recursion from the graveyard.
Invoked Soraf, that is.
And I think you can even banish it from the graveyard to fusion summon.
You can, yeah. You can do that. You can use fusion materials from the graveyard alongside that as well. And we are going to now bring out the additional Alistair. Danilo is just giving a lesson about this Invoked strategy here in the final round of the World's Points playoff to his opponent. This is absurd to me. In the last couple of years, I think we never really had that wild card deck coming into the competition.
No.
And then also showing up with such a big and strong run and result. So I'm really glad that this time someone was bold enough to surprise them all and us as well and bring a deck like this Alistair Invoked deck.
Danilo Siracusa, he definitely would deserve a Worlds invite, as all of these players from the playoff do.
Of course. One of the most consistent players in Europe. 2nd place at YCS Dortmund with his beloved Draco Tail deck. Invocation now, that's the original one, and we are going to use the Link monster from our field. What else are we going to use? Our graveyard at this point is our Oyster, and that is the Oceanus in the extra monster zone, right?
Yeah, and Leonardo needs to read the card now.
Super cool looking card as well. Like that card.
True.
It's a common. You wouldn't expect that card, that kind of artwork to come as a common. It's just, it's so nice.
And I don't think Danilo is the type of player who wants this card as a common, looking at his field.
Well, maybe with him qualifying for Worlds this weekend, that card just makes itself eligible for an upgrade in the OTS pack. Oh no, in Ultimate Tournament packs nowadays.
Oh, I will love that. But Oceanus is now being Dimensional Fissure on legs, as you said, and this is going to be problematic. You know, we have survived the Shifter. Now we're using Soreth.
The momentum truly is shifting after we went into this nicely with a 1 die roll. From there on, Danilo has taken control and is absolutely cruising here, as we are now also going into the Hyper-Invoked Ion.
Yeah, that one is being summoned by 2 fusion monsters, so you get to get rid of 2 cards. And Jupredo is being summoned back.
Okay, so that means we're in the end phase. Yeah. So we have survived at least, but we have also carefully taken care of all the follow-up that Leonardo had at least presented on the field with the field spell. But the Jupredo is still on the field, so not sure how well we can deal with that.
The thing is, Jupredo, if it destroys something, does it destroy at the same time as the card that you're destroying? Because then if you use that to get rid of the Oceanus, you should be able to trigger him and get into the extra deck, no?
Is that how it works? I'm not sure, actually. I think they should probably be both banished at the same time. Not sure either. Oh, maybe we'll find out. Okay.
But it's not a scale effect anyways, because it's in the main monster zone, so that the option for destroying something...
It's not destroying anyhow. Yeah, you're right. True. So, Leonardo has picked up a card for a turn, and this first game is going on for a while now.
Yeah.
They are really, really trying to make sure that one of them is taking the upper end. If you win this game 1, just psychologically as well, it's a huge advantage, because coming back from that game here almost feels impossible. I know these guys are the best in Europe, and maybe they would be the ones to pull it off, but if I would be sitting in their shoes and lose a game after fighting for it so hard, it would throw me off real hard.
And I think then you have like the lowest momentum going into the elimination matches.
Yes,
if you're just,
that too.
If you were just 1 game away already, like right now you're in a comfortable spot where you say to yourself, okay, I have 2 games, I just need to win 1 of them. If you've already lost the first one, that's when you have to have nerves of steel.
Exactly, and all the others come in with positive momentum because
Yeah.
they lost their last round to secure their spot for another elimination match. But here, that might be the opposite. But that is something for later. For now, we can focus on who is actually going to end up being that person winning here in this first game and maybe in the overall match. While Leonardo is carefully looking through all these options, trying to find an answer to all of this, but it really doesn't feel easy with another dimension shifter being presented to him here, basically.
Yeah, this one is just fissure, yeah? Spell and Trap still
Okay.
go to the graveyard.
Nice.
Very, very big impact there.
Actually, against the pendulum cards? Wait, how does that work? No, I think
they
that
get
doesn't work. Yeah, they still get banished. Satch. Invoked Oceanus, 3,000 attack points. Not too shabby either, but here we go. Leonardo is trying his very best, bringing in that Vidolium into the pendulum zone, and we will be able to resolve that. What is that Perulia doing there, by the way, in the main monster zone? It's just chilling on there. I want to be part of it. I didn't get a draw for my players, so maybe I can help on the field.
There was one draw, the normal summon of draw and block.
True, you're right. Actually, it did a trick.
That was wild.
Yeah, it was.
And now Danilo has to read the Oceanus. Understandable.
Very much.
I think we would have all been there.
I would have, for sure.
I liked what Leonardo did at the end of the last turn. It's something that I do every time I play against the rogue deck. I have no idea how it works. It's like, okay, so in your graveyard, is there anything that is interacting with me?
That is such a classic question to ask. Also, just always checking. Right now, what can you do?
Yeah.
Just explain to me what can you do. Just make it as short as possible. You don't have to go into details, but tell me what of this is able to do something to me here on my turn.
Also very important, everything can be destroyed by card effects.
Right?
Is anything untargetable?
Those are the questions we've all gone through. Not necessarily the nicest time to go through them here in that kind of a match, being so important. Okay, we got Ronaldo onto the field. Ronaldo now attacking the card we just addressed as being so problematic, attacking the Oceanus. Oh, and we use the graveyard effect of Terminus. We said spell cards will end up in the graveyard, so we can use the graveyard effect of Terminus here, banishing that Oceanus face down, dealing with it quite nicely, going into the main phase 2, going into a Link summon here. Hold on, Leonardo might very much still be in this.
Yep, we are definitely doing that. Did we use the effect of Beyond the Pendulum here?
I think he didn't announce it just yet.
Yeah. It's not a summon effect, no?
It is an on-summon effect, yes. It would be exactly that, but maybe Danilo is also thinking whether he wants to do something on the summon.
Because we have activated our effects in the extra deck.
We did, and looks like we are going to Pendulum Summon now next up.
And from the way it plays...
I mean, we got an extra card, so I would assume that we have activated the effect.
Yeah. From the way it plays, it actually does look like... It does look like the deck that people were expecting from Invoked.
Yeah.
There's not really a lot going on.
I mean, he's playing a lot of blowout cards, right? He's playing the Shifter, he's playing Perulia even, so he's just really trying to make it as simple as possible for his opponent and then capitalize on that with the rather easy, rather low to the ground invoked cards. And I mean, so far in this tournament, that worked out well. I mean, imagine Invoked Raging against Q-Tune. That card is crazy against Q-Tune. So I do see how we got here, but maybe Power Patrons are not necessarily the matchup that we were wishing for. Also, I met Danilo just before the round, and he said, after I wished him best of luck, well, I will need it, because he already knew he would be facing Leonardo, who's not also very known in the Italian community, but that is a concession by Leonardo! All of those invoked monsters, enough here for Danilo, and we got there in the end.
It really looked like he was starting to get going in this game, right? He outed the Oceanus, and then with that he started playing, but apparently it wasn't enough to get back into the game.
Yeah.
And I wanted to say a quick concession, but that wasn't really quick. And I think this is one of the games where you really, really, really want to avoid a double loss.
You want to. So the only Power Patron Artmage player in the tournament playing against the only Invoked player in the tournament.
Yeah.
And the first game goes to the Invoked player. And now,
I like
side
Shifter
decking,
a lot.
Leo, I got a question for you, because there is... like I didn't see that card having necessarily any kind of meta play lately in the meta, because a lot of people anticipated that card to be in possibly players' side decks, and card is soundproofed. And I will not say who, but one of them is siding soundproofed, which people were talking about it against a tech card, like as a tech card against the Kyujin deck, but actually seeing it here as a free off in a side deck is mind-blowing.
I mean, it's a decent blowout card for this matchup, right? So
I guess.
I think against the best duelists in Europe, you might need a little more help from your side deck. You really want to guarantee those Ws. And honestly, the numbers do them right. 5 out of the 16 players have decided to bring Cooltune to this tournament.
True.
And honestly, at this point, it does not seem like the right decision. It feels like in those tournaments, if you bring the deck that everyone is the most prepared for, things are just getting harder for you.
So I think, though, when we are looking at the other pairings that are happening, or at the other matches that are going on right now, one match is Kevin Suger against Philipp Weidinger.
Yeah.
And I'm pretty sure there's at least one Kyujin involved, which then might end up in the elimination matches. Then Josh Kelly is also playing, as he won our round 3 featured match on the stage previous round.
He was playing the Light and Darkness Chaos
He's
deck.
playing the Light and Darkness Chaos deck, so that definitely is still in the competition somewhere as well. So we will see who is going to be our remaining duelist trying to make it to the World Championship. But for now, there's only the focus on this match here, as we are trying to send someone immediately. Let's go back into this round 4 match. And when I say immediately, let me remind you one more time, we are having new rules for this points playoff. The person going 4-0, going undefeated in this, and that could only be one of the two currently on screen, immediately books their ticket to the World Championship. And then it is only 2 more spots left to be playing for afterwards. And Leonardo goes first with, in my opinion, maybe you have a different one, the strongest Power Patron card there is.
Yeah, I would definitely agree on that. And I think I got an idea why Leonardo forfeited the last match. I think he went into the Purification Power Patron without having a Power Patron in the graveyard, and then you can't activate the effect to search. And I think that maybe was what... I wanted to find a funny English idiom, but I can't, so I'm just not gonna. But Leonardo is going to get this Ash.
That's rough.
That's rough, buddy.
But there comes Shade. So we ain't done with this just yet. Brings the TCG exclusive to the table once again.
Old etherealized past lull.
Ooh, I didn't know that's actually a card that you're attacking.
Yeah, same.
So it was granted good enough, though, by Danilo to be ashed. And now we are getting that Jupredo off the field, and we are probably going to search now. Plays another Pendulum Zone, Pendulum card into a Pendulum Zone, and we are going to trigger both of these right here, right now.
Are you seeing what I'm seeing? I think that Danilo Siracusa has a Droll and Lockbird in hand as well.
Ooh. Since the introduction of Pendulum cards, I am afraid to tell Leonardo that Droll and Lockbird has always been a crazy, crazy, crazy powerful card against any kind of Pendulum deck. And there it is being dropped. And Leonardo, he stopped in his motion there for a second. You could tell he was visibly impacted by that Droll and Lockbird being dropped into the graveyard of Danilo Siracusa. So how well of a field can we still put up through it?
So many of these cards that we have just seen in the last turn have just said that they're adding something from the deck to the hand. What is the way to pivot out of this? However, we've also seen that if you only have maybe an Ash Blossom in your hand or something, you can stop Danilo in his tracks quite easily, because he also couldn't play that much in the last turn, even though he got quite a bit of play. But also he had to start unideally with a Crowley versus an SP Little Knight, very few cards in hand. Question is, how much can Danilo actually do into a half board, if it even becomes a half board?
Let's see, Leonardo is trying to figure out the solution to this puzzle, as it oftentimes is in Yu-Gi-Oh! That you just... Another normal summon of Drone and Lockbird? You gotta be kidding me. What is going on here? That is a Ling free now by Leonardo, and we are skipping the Beyond the Pendulum, because Beyond the Pendulum, of course, cannot search under Drone and Lockbird, and we want to go instead for Exceed the Pendulum right away. And I mean, Exceed the Pendulum only needs one Pendulum monster, so the Drone and Lockbird is fine to be used here as a Link material.
And this card adds something back from the extra deck. Well, it is technically also a deck that does not apply to Droll and Lockbird, or that does not suffer from Droll and Lockbird, and now we're setting up Pendulum Scales.
That's a Pendulum summon there into 2 of the zones that Exceed the Pendulum is providing us. And maybe now just a Varudras and Prey. It is definitely going to be a rank 12. But will it be Varudras? I think it will be. Oh, rank 10. Yeah, never mind. And there it is.
Varudras and Prey. Such a strong card that has been, I want to say, underutilized ever since it came out. I mean, there was a brief phase with UBEL decks that used this card.
Yeah, for sure.
Great times. But Varudras, the final bringer of end times, actually, has now found his way back, because level 10 is back on the menu, baby.
Well, Leo, that's... At the end of the day, though, basically only Varudras pass.
Yeah.
I mean, we don't know what the set card is. That might still be a very impactful card as well, but judging by nowadays standards for a combo deck, that is not necessarily overwhelming, and certainly something we could possibly break here.
But it is something versus 4 cards only, because we have already played into 2 hand traps.
Oh, let's go in. Alistair time. Ladies and gentlemen, this deck is all about Alistair, and now we even have multiple versions of him.
This one just attempting to special summon itself.
Oh, he is reminiscent. And that is immediately going to be answered by the Varudras, and we're not only going to negate, but also destroy here on Resolution, using both materials. And hold on, we can of course still also use the quick effect of Exceed the Pendulum on the opposing turn now.
We're gonna get a monster from our graveyard back. Danilo cuts that deck of Leonardo, and he is now going to draw 2 and discard 1, I suppose.
That is Nervado that we just brought back there. Discards the field spell.
Ginaldo is going to the extra deck. So we're getting the field spell back. So resource management on point for Leonardo. And now Danilo.
Summon Alistair!
Yep, every single time you stop this deck and it strikes, you think you got it, but then there's another Alistair out of somewhere, or the hard draw invocation. However,
it always was like that, right? When you stopped also the Magical Meltdown, they always already had the Alistair. There's plenty of memes regarding this card, but this meme may go to World today.
But Basti, what are we doing now? There's 3 monsters on our opposing side of the field. They have decent stats.
Maybe...
What are you doing?
Super Polymerization. We saw that in his deck.
Now, there has to be something better in his engine. You can't only rely on Super Polymerization when you're breaking a field.
I mean...
That can't be the case.
I get what you mean, for sure. I do agree. It would be cool that there is something better. I think the ceiling, actually, of also the Magistus cards in his deck could be really, really decent. And that's maybe where we are heading towards to. And maybe we saw game 1 that there is Crowley in there.
Maybe we're going for a good old-school Purgatrio play.
I was thinking of Purgatrio as well, because that is with the piercing damage and everything, but he doesn't play that.
Oh, because we would have the Ash Blossom in the graveyard to actually exit. It would have been... Oh, we are so old. That would have been cool.
We are very old, Leo. But that now is going to be...
The Virtuous on the Alistair.
Oh. That's crit. Wait, Invocation Sword that we have just used actually only works with monsters you control. It is not working the way that the regular Invocation was working, which we also have though. So even though the first new version of Invocation will stop, the good old Reliable still will be able to fusion summon here ultimately.
You could also use monsters that are banished and put them to the graveyard with Sword. But if you only have the Alistair banished, only have the Radiant banished and nothing else, then you cannot do that.
Yeah, that's true.
So what do we have?
Okay, we do use the Alistair.
Just to get the effect ready. Add it back to hand shuffle, invocation back later. But what are we going into? None of these cards in this extra deck, they look like the craziest breakers ever. I think one good breaking card that the deck now has, the Hyper Invoked Aeon.
That could be a cool one for sure. Okay, we're using the Droll Lockbird from our opponent to again go into the one that we have seen in the previous game, into the Invoked Sorath.
That one sets up a really good Aeon play. So for Aeon, you could use Sorath in the graveyard and then banish it.
Oh, Leo, what a timing. Leonardo reading all of those cards in one of the most important matches of his lifetime. He brings back the Ash Blossom and Joyous Spring. In the last game, he brought back the Perulia, and now we can just go into maybe another SP Little Knight. It seems like Droll and Lockbird and SP Little Knight. Well, if you have that, but I think there is a lack of synchro monsters in his extra deck.
Yeah, fair enough. But that would have been cool. I would have really pretty much enjoyed that. And now,
okay, now we just go for the Alistair, the Invoker. Yep. Yeah, exactly that guy. Are we using the on-summon effect? I mean, surely in this deck we are going to use that, as it is a pure Invoke deck.
I mean, the card basically most of the time just becomes Alistair, and that's all it does. If you fusion summon, you're actually going to be able to discard a card and then add another invocation. Invocation isn't hard once per turn, right?
It's not, no. It really isn't, but Dominus Impulse now being used from Leonardo Zacchetti, stopping Danilo in his tracks. Now we are getting back the invocation because we have used the graveyard effect of the new invocation to get back the old invocation here. And we are using it again.
So what?
One more time. Let's take it for a spin. And this time that is going to be one that we haven't seen yet. And that is Baberon.
Another card from Corey that actually gets to search you. A Viracum, which is a nice negate, or a Gamma Summon, which is a trap card that lets you summon a bunch of monsters again.
The funny thing about this one is, it is a fire, but how does it not require a fire material? Like, that seems illegal to me. That would have been the new Purgatrio for me. But no, it isn't. But we are instead going to use the Albion from Leonardo's graveyard there as well. That's massive. Getting that out of rotation already.
So we actually get another search here with the Alistair as well, since we summoned a fusion monster.
And, yep, we have read up on that Invoked Baberon, and we are now certain about what it does. 2,450 attack points, also something that can just help here in the battle phase.
And did we search the Viracum, Divine Spirit of Artifice?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, I'm pretty sure we did. So, Danilo, is there really a way through this? It's not much that Leonardo is presenting him with here anymore. So, if we find that impactful turn here, if we can go for it here at this very moment, this may be his game to already lock it up and make it a swift 2-0 in his favor.
At this point, Danilo is going through motions so quickly. We have some doubters here who think that Alistair is not going to be able to pull it off. By now, the field still looks big from Leonardo. So it would be quite impressive if he could actually go for a one-turn win here.
With Invoked out of all decks.
Yeah.
You got to be kidding me. But that is the moment where not many people in the audience and probably at home are even able to understand what's going on, because those cards are so new and they were not kind of unregarded by most people. But we are going for SP Little Knight, so yes, we are going to further break the field, but we're not going for game here this turn.
Every single time, I think now he's got it. Now the deck is just going to really power through. For both of them, they just make SP.
Leo, that's hilarious. We just activated the effect of Alistair to boost the Baberon by 1,000 attack points just to get it into the graveyard. That's hilarious. But still, the old school effect applying of the card, the OG effect, that little trick that usually comes in the battle phase, sometimes even in the damage step. But here we bring out, just with getting that extra Alistair into the graveyard, that so powerful fusion monster that we have been mentioning so much, that Oceanus.
Yep, and that one is going to make sure that if you are running over that Pendulum monster, it's not going to see the extra deck. So you are setting up a little bit of a floodgate, another set card for Danilo as well. But how good are you going to be able to protect your Oceanus?
We will see, and it will be banished now. We're banishing the Exceed the Pendulum, and we're also banishing that Power Patron Pendulum monster because it was destroyed by battle. It doesn't go to the graveyard, but gets banished instead. So never a timing for it to hit the extra deck. And now Leonardo. This is the turn where we need to make things happen. This is the turn where we are required to turn this game around. Otherwise, Danilo may just be running away with it. But I'm sure Leonardo is capable of doing it, as we have another copy of our field spell. And that's a good start.
We haven't attacked directly, but still we were able to deal some more damage. Oh, now the Invocation Sword is being activated, and Aeon comes in and is now going to be able to, I would say, banish 2 cards, right?
From the field and our graveyard up to the number of monsters used as material, and we use 3 materials, so we can banish 3 cards in total. And Leonardo, he almost looked like he was packing things up, but I think now maybe just going through the last options that are available to him, trying to figure out whether there is a way to stay in this game. But that turn was huge by Danilo.
First of all, Danilo is allowed to take a little look into the extra deck and rip some cards of his choosing, so a targeted extra deck rip. That's a very Kashtira unicorn style.
Oh yeah.
Just a lot better because you actually get to choose multiple cards.
Or Crackle as well, more recent cards comparable to that. The Heal-Tune Synchro monster, banishing all 3 of those. The Link 2 is gone that we didn't get to go through on our last turn. Oh, Leonardo checking once again. Is there anything else about this? You have already banished 3 cards from my side. You have also looked into my extra deck and banished 3 more. Surely now there's nothing else, and I don't think there is actually. I mean, wait, you can change the attribute of things as well. I don't think that's necessarily important against this deck.
That can come up in some matchups, I think, and also sometimes you can fuse from the opponent's side, so you can manipulate their attributes. But Medius the Pure is a start. How far can we extend with it? Through the Oceanus.
Well, that is pure. We do bring out another Power Patron straight from the deck, and it's big, so we may as well just be able to attack over things here. And there's Terminus too, and Terminus will end up in the graveyard because it is a spell card and not affected by Oceanus, and therefore we can just use the graveyard effect to banish one of those monsters face down even.
And he can't love to see that because Danilo made sure that he banishes the Terminus from the graveyard from the last turn.
Yes. And here we go. Use Terminus. And banished it is. And Danilo, does Danilo have cards in hand? I don't think he has, right? We're really down to the wire here. Nobody really having much to present anymore. Also, the field that Leonardo has isn't big, but Danilo needs to find a top deck here too.
But I mean, Danilo has Invocation in the graveyard and he has Alistair banished, so that is already some engine. This is what Invoked was always known for.
Yeah.
But now Leonardo gets to actually play the game, and that is something really, really scary. However, his resources are diminished. Even some extra deck rips will stop him from comboing off. However, we are only in game 2. If Leonardo gets this back, we actually might get to the scenario where there's going to be a double loss.
That's crazy. Okay, Link 2 is coming out. That is the Purification Power Patron. It's small though, so not necessarily something you're relying on in terms of attack points to like hold against the Invoked monster presented on the other side of the field. But we are going to be able to bring a Dark Fairy monster. We can link summon here as well with the effect of the Purification Power Patron if we like. Or now we use the on-field effect of Ronaldo.
It's draw 2, discard 1, no? No.
Nope, it is banishing 1 face down, destroy that card, and special summon 1 Junora from the extra deck, which has now hit the field. Junora is there. Oh my. Oh, you can really see Leonardo is shaking. He knows there's not much time. He knows he has to somehow win this game. And Danilo, of course, also not necessarily happy right now because he needs to win, but he also needs to win in 10 minutes somehow.
Yeah, for Danilo, I think the goal is just to win this game, to go out 2-0 and get your ticket to the World Championships. This is what these players have been working for all year. And now Danilo is just praying this opponent cannot build up a reasonable board because the battle phase was used. He will not lose the game in this turn. And he has a huge monster on the field in Hyper Invoked.
SP Little Knight looks into the
graveyard. I think that takes out the invocation.
Might be, yeah. Follow-up possibly taken care of with that SP Little Knight. That SP Little Knight in this game, like how many SP Little Knights have been there? They're everywhere.
It feels like they haven't summoned anything else,
Yeah,
actually.
it really doesn't. And that is not Invocation, but that's been
Invocation Sword.
Invocation, the Invocation Sword.
Do we not have a Alistar banished? I think we do, right?
We
a regular Alistar?
do have Alistar banished, yes. Oh, now the graveyard effect of Fearalize, and we are going to bring back the Junora. Maybe we have more ways to clear the graveyard here. We're now below 10 minutes, and this turn is taking a long time here for Leonardo, but also it has developed quite nicely, to be fair. He has worked through all the stuff that Danilo presented to him. We are just going to go into Underworld Goddess, leaving Danilo on 0 cards in top deck mode.
And Underworld Goddess, does she only negate monster effects in the graveyard, or is this everything in the graveyard?
It is only monster effects, and we do resolve our invocation. We get the Alistar. Oh wait, is it only monster effect?
Activates a card effect that special summons a monster from the graveyard.
Oh yeah, no, that never would work. So we do get the Alistar. Alistar searches invocation. Danilo going for his options now. He's revealing all those cards right now.
No, I think we are invocating those out. Are we going for another Hyper Invoked Aeon? That is so much attack. That is banishing a lot of cards again. Just taking out resources. Get the Impulse out. That could help our opponent. Get the Goddess out, perhaps.
Also, I mean, Goddess is a light, so we could never use that anyways because we have used Dominus Impulse, and Danilo Siracusa is going to the World Championship with winning that second game with a deck that no one had on the agenda. No one is expecting to be even in the competition, and he's here 4-0 into the World Championship directly.
Have you ever seen Danilo in a room with Alistar? I haven't. I'm just saying that might be a coincidence, but I think it is him. Danilo with the craziest deck of the tournament. Shows in this last round of Swiss going 4-0 through the playoffs why he chose this crazy deck.
Mind-blowing. You probably can hear right now he's celebrating with his friends, jumping up and down, and everyone's just hugging him. And I mean, he deserves.
Yes.
All of them pretty much deserve that are here in the top 16, but him especially as well. Like, he had that crazy of a season, never really... it felt like every YCS he entered, you could already put him into the top 8 bracket, which is crazy to imagine even with so many players nowadays being at a YCS. So it's actually ridiculous how consistent he has been. Usually with those fusion-based decks, still with a fusion-based deck, but a completely unexpected one this time.
And nobody knew what was coming with those cards. Just a bunch of commons from Chaos Origins flying in here with the Oceanus, for example. This card is so incredibly strong. And if you do not understand the deck that your opponent's playing, if you never even factor it in your playtesting, I think you are presented some threats. If this was like the most known deck ever and people were more prepared for it, there's a good chance Danilo wouldn't have made it this far. I think this factor of playing a rogue deck might have helped him a lot.
For sure, but also something I want to mention, because in the beginning, I basically gave you the question, what's the better approach to go? Do you go with a consistent deck, or are you trying to go with a high roll combo approach? And Danilo kind of took the third option that there is, and he just went with a rogue strategy, but completely built and focused on the format that he's presented with. He expected a lot of Q-Tune, he expected a lot of Branded, and he picked a deck that is just outperforming those like crazy. And also now, we talked about Soundproof. He's the one playing triple Soundproof in his side deck as well. His deck seems perfectly built for this environment.
And I mean, we have seen what this deck does versus the Branded deck just in this matchup, right? There was the Albion in the graveyard. Invocation, we are using that to summon our best card, and especially versus a deck like Branded. And Oceanus, if you're just putting that down on your first turn, the deck really has very, very little things to do, because your usual outs against cards that are problematic for you, like Fallen into Virtuous, that's not helping when everything would go to the banishment. You can't send anything to the graveyard for cost.
Okay, so to get you briefed on how this is looking now, we got Danilo into the World Championship. Of course, meaning 2 spots only available now in the playoff. That means, as we explained at the beginning of the day, 2nd place to 5th place will be 2nd place against 5th place for 1 spot, and then 3rd place against 4th place for another spot. So we are going to have 2 elimination matches still remaining. But for now, of course, we want to hear from the one person that already does not have to play any other matches, that is qualified for the World Championship. Let's throw it over to Charles and Danilo.
Thank you, Basti. Danilo, well done
Thank you.
making your way to the World Championship.
Doesn't feel real.
It feels insane, I bet. Yeah, well done. You're very happy, I can see. You're very well done.
I played awfully. I played so bad this round.
Clearly not.
The nerves
clearly not.
got to me for sure.
Did a fantastic job. I want to talk about some of the plays that we went through during that game, because I think it was a really cool game to watch. The first thing I saw immediately, straight away, the shifter into the Perulia.
Yeah.
A great start for you. Shifter, how does that feel in this deck?
Yeah, I'm allowed to play thanks to Invocation Sword. So if my opponent doesn't play, that's good enough for me. Even if I don't have to full combo, it's fine.
Wonderful.
As long as someone one fusion, I'm good.
No, exactly. I understand Shifter is one of those cards which sometimes, if it just hurts the opponent more, that's worth it.
Yeah.
And that's the case here.